Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. I know it's a difficult act to follow after an FMCG company when most of the people sitting in the room are marketeers, advertisers. I'll try my best to keep you engaged. The context of this topic is, initially it was supposed to be a panel discussion, and somehow I was not there for the pre-panel briefing, and I was told by my PR lead that somehow the panel thought it's not a very interesting topic to have a panel on, and I had already set my mind on it that, okay, let's talk about this. So then I requested, can I do a speaker session then instead of a panel? And obviously the question that intrigued me was that why did all the panelists think this is not a very in vogue topic or should be discussed or not? So as usual, I went back to my team and asked them, why do you think big screens people are not interested in and all? And what's going wrong with it? And some of the notions or myths which came across is what I like to start off with. So, one of the things which everybody said that these days people are consuming content largely in individual spaces, which essentially meant that people are using laptops or mobiles to consume a lot of content. So when we did some research, we found out that Amazon had done a study last year where they tried to understand, that what actually consumers prefer to do for streaming content. And surprisingly, they found that 78% of respondents actually want to watch content, streaming content on television, set-top boxes, or smart TVs, and in their family setup or community viewing. And community viewing is still very much prevalent. And incidentally, last weekend, I came across this video which PVR Inox has recently released, where Pankaj Tripathi, sorry we couldn't get the subtitles for this, but I think most of us understand Hindi. So I'll just play this video for you. He kinds of says this much more eloquently that, why community viewing is never going to be out of vogue.
क्या आपको भी घर बैठे-बैठे टेक्निकलर ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट लगने लगा है? कभी फोन की घंटी, कभी बगल वाला बंटी, मजे गिरगिरे करने वाले बहुत हैं, पर साथ हंसने वाला अजी छोड़िए। जिंदगी कई रंग की जिंदगी, दोनों के मजे लीजिए। आइए सीधे चले आइए। नजरें उठाइए। समझ नबी हैं यहाँ, पर कोई पराया नहीं। एक कमाल की अंडरस्टैंडिंग, इमोशंस बिल्कुल छूट है। न रोने पर संकोच, न हंसने पर यहाँ पूरे हॉल के साथ जोर आके लगाते हैं। अपने पसंदीदा अभिनेता के संवाद खड़े होकर तालियां बजाते हैं। और कभी औरों के साथ आप भी बात हो जाते हैं। कभी किसी बात पे इकट्ठे वाह निकलते हैं। दूर किसी रूम में कोई पहचानी सी लगती है। और कुछ पल के लिए ही सही मन में एक अलग से पिक्चर। कभी कोई सीन अपनों के पास ले जाता है। और कभी अजनबियों के साथ में प्लॉट ट्विस्ट आ जाता है। देखते से परिवार सा बन जाते हैं। एक फीलिंग में साथ निभाते हैं। यहाँ कोई हैरान की नहीं, ना कोई बड़ा ना कोई छोटा, ना कोई राजा ना कोई रंग। चलिए खुलकर जीते हैं। सिनेमा हॉल में फिल्म देखते हैं। 3 घंटे के लिए ही सही वन बिग इमोशनल फैमिली का हिस्सा बनते हैं। अकेले में तो बस टाइम पास होता है। फिल्म देखने का मजा तो सबके साथ ही PVR Inox। बड़ा देखो, साथ देखो।
Okay, I don't know whether the audio at the back was clear or not, but the idea was that post-COVID, there has been a steady increase in big screen viewing, and we'll show some numbers in the upcoming slides, and I think that's what they're taking an advantage of, that community viewing is back in vogue. And so when most of the people think that big screens are out and most of the content is consumed on small screens, it's not actually true, not only in terms of preferences of the consumers, but also in the actual viewing habits, which we saw in 2023. Another notion which team talked about is that no one watches commercial anymore. It's partially true, right? People don't watch commercials if they are very intrusive in nature, right? You can't Like for example, even in cinema hall, if you go inside and some ad is playing, you might not really register it also. So what brands have done last year or last few years, the trends have been that most of the brands have moved to episodic ads, because most of the streaming platforms are actually playing with this format now. They are testing this format, that if we have to go away from subscription models in India and we have to start showing advertisements. Already Jio Cinema, Disney Hotstar has plans where they start showing pre-roll ads, right? So what kind of ads engage people more? The way we used to see it on TV or series ads? We saw a very big brand, PhonePe, actually doing an episodic format ads during the World Cup, right? So people are actually treating advertising content as a form of storytelling, and therefore episodic format content works. At our brand at TVS Credit, we also tried something like that. We did a mini series for New Year resolutions. We did a series where we have two characters, Sid and Pooh, who actually buy multiple products from us and what is happening in their life, and we pick up a theme. And these contents have really resonated well with the audiences on channels like Instagram and YouTube. But at the same time, while the content was targeted at Instagram consumers or Instagram users, 36% of our consumers actually watched this content on TV while streaming, which is an interesting fact because our entire campaign was mobile first. It was not targeted at TV. Still, people watched it on TV. So that also was a myth breaker internally for us, that people are using all kinds of devices, and let's not just go by that everything is mobile first. Not saying mobile is growing, but if the content is immersive, if the content is in episodic format, if the content is actually telling a story about the brand in some way or other, people are watching it on all the devices. I don't know whether I should play these ads if the sound check is okay now. Ankit? Sound chal raha hai piche? Okay, let's skip the ads then. You can watch it on YouTube or our company's channel. They are based upon interesting memes also. This series got, I think, already has 70 million plus views and high amount of engagement and shareability in this kind of content. Another notion which came forth, that people's attention spans are shortening. It's true again to some extent, and long format content is not expanding. But what are the advertisers doing? Right? There are three things which happened last year, two or three things. One, most of the big hits in cinema last year were nearly 3 hours. Right? Whether it is Jailer in Tamil, or Animal in Hindi, or English Oppenheimer, most of these movies are 3 hours, or even more than that. So people are engaging with long format content. But the way you tell the same stories has changed. So for example, my own personal experience, when I was watching Animal, I didn't understand one thing, that why people are not able to realize the passage of time. The pre-interval movie is almost like a full movie. It's like 1 hour 40 minutes, right? And you don't realize the passage of time, because when you watch it again, you will realize that every 10 to 15 minute segment of that movie has been designed in such a way that it's a mini movie. You can watch it without knowing what happened before that and what happened after that. And most of the movies which have worked in theaters are actually having that quality in them, right? That you can start the movie from anywhere and you will still enjoy it, even if you don't know. It's not like that you will get the story, but you'll enjoy the movie. So I think that's what is working, that while the content, long format will work, the way you tell that content has changed. So that is something which is interesting. Most of the campaigns, people use short format videos, right? 20 seconders, and so that skip button doesn't come on YouTube and all. But you look at Diwali campaigns, more of the brand campaigns start telling long format videos because the viewers have more time at that time. So if they have time and the content is interesting, they will watch. So that also is somewhat mythical, that people are only watching 15-second reels and they're skipping. True, if they are on Instagram, they are mirroring that behavior. But that's not actually true everywhere. So people are also taking this conscious call on what channel I want to watch what. So that's something which, again, a notion which the numbers don't say that it's true. Another notion which came is that our big screens only TV and cinema, and there is a third kind of big screen which is emerging in outdoor media space. That means when you are captive audience at a bus shelter, at an airport, or office complex, and brands have started using big screens in an interactive or immersive way, I think that is working in a very big way. Can you play this video? Even if there is no sound, it will work. Yeah. So I came across a very interesting campaign, how interactive digital media used to get donations. Very interesting storytelling in small snippets of time. So the interesting part here is the screen is the same, what you are used to see in your airports, right? But the way the interactivity was built in that small story, that if you're feeding something, you do your bit, right? And interesting underlying factor here is that obviously this worked because there was a purpose behind the campaign, right? You are donating to some NGO, but there are interesting ways in which brands can use it also for commercial purpose. And I'll talk about it, how, advertisers should actually use big screens going forward. So what's the common thread? Obviously, I don't think big screens are dead, right? And it continuously remain an important and relevant media. And we should use it the way some of the numbers which talk about it are. In TV, last year, the advertising spends grew by 10% in India. So 36,500 crores were the ad, spends previous year. 10% growth. In 2024, it is expected to further grow by 10%. At such a high base of spends value, the 10% growth is good. Last year, 2023 was the highest box office collection year for India ever, across all languages, right? 12,000 crores box office collection, never seen before. People might call it revenge viewing after COVID, but I think every movie earned money. And it was the biggest footfall year also. It's not just that the ATS of the tickets went up, the actual footfalls were highest last year. So people are coming back to cinemas. Outdoor spends have grown. Within that, if you look at digital outdoor spends and pragmatic digital outdoor spends have grown. So that's what that video was telling, that how digital campaigns are working, right? Even in the BTL space or the outdoor space. So obviously, you know what I stand for now, right? That I am all for big screens and they are here to stay. And therefore, we thought that what advertisers should do. This is just the last slide, and we tried to understand what are the 5 or 6 key themes which are emerging. So we have called that framework called DEPICT. So D stands for is easiest to guess, data-driven. That while you cannot do the advertisement same way on TV, that you go and you show the ads for 30 seconds or whatever slots you are getting, and you assume that this is the reach and frequency of your TG, and you will carpet bomb them on TV and you will get 60% or 70% of the reach you want for your TG. The data available today, even for TV, whether consumers are, consuming content on smart TVs, whether they are actually going from one device to other device, whether they are going for a booking, you can check if you have that ability to have that kind of, you have consumer data platforms, whether he has booked a ticket on some channel and you are reading their SMSs through some means, right? People are saying that I want to watch movie. If you are that brand where you can get the cinema bookings data, there are so much you can do with cross-functional devices. So data helps a lot. A simple fact that we did 2 kinds of campaigns last year. One was the brand campaign, which was targeted at Instagram users, which the focus was that you want to reach out for our consumer lending products by not talking about the products much. Show the situations where the products are used, which was basically the 2 campaigns I couldn't show, Sid and Pooh and New Year resolution campaigns. Now, data shows that those campaigns worked really well on Instagram as compared to, let's say, YouTube or Facebook or those kind of channels. And obviously, there was a TV viewing. But at the same time, whenever we did a campaign which was for core products which we have been doing traditionally, like two-wheeler loans and all, the audiences for that are little older. They are above 30 age, 35. Those campaigns are getting more engagement or more views on YouTube or Facebook. Clearly showing that my audience or my customer base is also now split across multiple channels and therefore consuming content on multiple devices. So that was an interesting thing. This data can be used in multiple ways for the campaigns this year. So I think data-driven approach towards, what to show on big screens, what kind of, we could also find out if I'm doing a series ads, how many consumers of mine actually came back and watched the next episode or the third episode in that same series. So that helped us a lot to understand that what kind of engagement the overall campaign is driving. E is e-commerce integration. You would have already started using or buying products on Instagram through Instagram shops. And YouTube is also now very big in terms of using AI for this. Every time I see an ad on YouTube today, there are interactive links which allow you to buy the thing right there and then. So the big screen can be used to now do e-commerce integration, where the entire journey can transition from, let's say, TV to your mobile device, or you can do it on TV if you have a smart TV. So that's another big thing that advertisers have to look at in using that. When you're doing an ad, where does your interactive link come? Where does your shop link come? Where does your buy or lead link come? So that's an interesting trend which we have started seeing of late. In Chennai, you see a Titan Eye Plus ad, you already start seeing the nearest eyewear store to your home. So they are detecting your location and giving you those links. Purpose driven is what P stands for. Here I am little split. Like, you should be purpose driven as a brand, but you should not be really activist, is what my belief in current environment in India is, that you should not take up a purpose just for the heck of it, right? The brand should have a purpose. I won't name the brand. I was discussing with my colleague just before the session that I saw an ad 2 days back of a particular moisturizing cream, and I felt that the purpose they are talking about is not even relevant to their brand, right? So they are just doing it because they have money, right? And they are just trying to be woke, in my sense, which is not a good word anymore, right? Because brands are getting trolled. So purpose driven, what I mean by purpose driven is that what you want to do for your customer and their communities, if that is clear, your campaigns will be purpose driven, rather than taking up you have never done anything. Your brand may not be doing anything for, let's say, women empowerment, right? You may not be doing anything, but you are deliberately putting your brand that, oh, this is what we are standing for. That won't work. So purpose driven, but not activism. I is immersive content, immersive or interactive storytelling. That is becoming very important. What do you mean by interactive storytelling? Everybody watches Coffee with Karan. This year they had app and TV cross collaboration, that you're watching the content, you answer questions. A lot of other TV shows have used it, and this is working in advertising space also, that you are actually giving choices to the consumers to scratch cards, or you're giving them voucher redemption offers within the ad itself. I think that's going to work. And how do you become interactive with the consumer, let them choose what they want to watch, and I think that's going to be a big thing. So it's, I think, a higher form of what we used to call 10 years back permission marketing. So interactive marketing actually is a implicit permission that if the consumer is interacting with your content, he is interested in you. Then C is more cinematic experiences, right? How do you build collaborations? So what I mean by cinematic experience is not just cinema viewing. What we mean by that is that cinema is coming to our homes. The audio, the AR, VR are improving at such a drastic pace that even home viewing experience on big screens is going to change forever. And this is going to create an experience that people will actually look forward to watch content on big screens. People are already thinking, if this is the kind of movie I want to watch, I want to go to cinema hall. If this is the kind of movie I want to watch, I am okay watching it on my flight, when I have just mobile phone with me. So people are already differentiating content in their mind from that point of view. And this is continuously going to increase, and therefore if you are targeting big screens where larger audiences in hinterland, smaller towns are still not using OTT and all, you are going to know that people are watching it in a very different way. Their habits have changed, but the screens are remaining the same. The last one is transitioning across channels or cross-platform integrations. That is very important. How many people already feel that this conspiracy theory is true, that if you say a word and you start seeing an ad for it? I don't know whether there's actually an algo behind it, but if I'm watching some content on TV and if I am logged in through my own Gmail account and I am logging with the same Gmail account on my phone, I already see that ad starts coming in for that. But what as advertiser we need to be very careful about is that the same ad cannot be shown, should not be shown ideally. If the device is different, are you interacting with a different set of triggers and stimulus? If that is happening, your content is a winning content. And that depict framework is what we should reflect on. And as an advertisers, if we are going to make big screens really big and useful for us, these are some of the things which we thought as a team that will help us. I'd like to thank the organizers for this event and the entire audience who listened to me. I don't know how much you got out of it. I would also like to thank my colleague Aishwarya who helped me put these things together. And thanks a lot. If there are any questions, I'm here.